This is Morning Motivation for Educators on the Bee Podcast Network. Learn about all the shows at beepodcastnetwork.com. You'll hear from a variety of formal and informal educators who help put this podcast together. If you'd like to contribute your voice to this show, please go to morningmotivationedu.com to apply. I am Danielle Nuhfer, an educator for over 20 years who went up against 2 bouts of serious teacher burnout before finally realizing that I needed to share what worked and what didn't with educators everywhere. This is when Teaching Well was born. At Teaching Well, I partner with schools who recognize that when teacher well-being is prioritized, true teaching and learning can happen. And there's nothing more integral to building this kind of school culture than finding ways to care for yourself in the midst of all the school day hustle and bustle. Building in these moments is what this show is all about and what I hope to bring to you each time I get the opportunity to speak with you here. So with that, let's begin. Remember our last episode when we dived deep into the concept of unseen scripts, the hidden narratives guiding our reactions? Well, today I want to introduce you to a tool to work with when you start to realize that you have these scripts. And by the way, we all have them. At Teaching Well, we use the acronym TLC when we're talking about scripts. So in addition to being reminded of that tender loving care we want to practice, we also can use this to stand for tracing your tendencies. The L is for leaning into mindfulness, and the C is all about calibrating your compass. So you see that TLC isn't just an acronym. It's a beacon for educators seeking to grow. So today, we'll start with the T, how to understand your unique tendencies. Picture this. You're in a classroom setting. A student challenges an idea you present. Your immediate reaction is defensiveness. Well, why is that? It's not about the student's question. It's about your internal script. If we can trace the source of our reactions, we can face them head on and choose how to respond rather than react. Simple, yes, in theory. It takes practice, but when you start to unravel these tendencies, you're able to do something different. And the way that you trace your tendencies is by cueing into your emotions. So when you had that student who did something and you felt some kind of way and you reacted, you want to trace your tendency. What's your tendency when you react? Work backwards from that emotion, from that feeling that you get in your body, and then what ultimately happens afterwards, and allow yourself to then trace the tendency. Get used to what that feels like when you react. Our mental and emotional well-being is like the foundation of a building. If it's solid and healthy, the entire structure, our classroom, our teaching, and our relationships with students stand strong. However, if there are cracks or weak spots, it can cause it to wobble. In my early days of teaching, I often found myself overwhelmed and reacting to classroom dynamics rather than steering them. One day, I realized that I was reacting to the same situation every single day. I started examining my body throughout the day and tracking these emotions. The journey wasn't always comfortable, but it was transformative. Over time, as I recognized my scripts, I found the freedom to choose my responses. And guess what? My classroom transformed alongside me. But it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen all the time. It took practice and practice and practice. As we conclude today's episode, here's your gentle reminder. Every one of us, from the freshest novice to the seasoned veteran, carries unique strengths, quirks, and even flaws. But recognizing and understanding them isn't a sign of weakness. It's a testament to our commitment to growth. So, dear educators, take that deep dive, trace those tendencies, accept them, and watch as your classroom becomes an even more connected space. If this morning's motivation resonated with you, I'd love to connect more. You can find all the different ways we can partner together at teachingwell.life. Thanks for listening. In whatever role you have in education, we have a podcast for you at beepodcastnetwork.com. Who among your friends and colleagues needs to hear this message today? Please share it with them right now.